What do they call the Bulldogs back then? What was their name? The Entertainers. Entertainers.
Yeah, but mate,
come
they
on.
weren't entertaining.
Because you had to throw it around, backwards and forwards, left and right, inside, outside.
It was tough.
Because the defence was right on you.
All right, boys, first question for today. 2022 NRL Coach of the Year. Toovs, you were an NRL coach, so you should have the honour of going first, old mate.
Well, I think it's Jason Demetriou. He's done a great job at South. Not so much in the football area, but for their mind space. I mean, there's a lot of different personalities there, as we know, and he's brought them all together and they're all focused. They had a great year.
Hang on a second. Jason Demetriou, he's coaching a team with Latrell Mitchell, Cody Walker. He's got bloody Tom Burgess in there, Damien Cook. I could coach him.
I rest my case.
Demetriou?
I'm talking about their headspace. The guys you mentioned, I'm glad I'm not looking after them. All right on the football field, but away from it, that's an issue.
But it wasn't as if they didn't have any success last year. They were grand finals last year, so they didn't have to do much. What about Todd Payton? 15th last year. 15th this year, 3rd. Now, there's a bloke that's...
Yeah, but again, Garlo, he's got a stack of Origin players.
They were 15th last year.
Yeah, but still, mate, you know, I mean, he can't keep saying they were 15th last year. He's got a stack of really good players in that side.
They've got over half of Queensland to pick from, haven't they, really?
He has, yeah.
Well, they got picked for Queensland this year, and a lot of them first-timers, because of how well he got them going.
You two
they were there last year as well.
You haven't done your homework, either of you. What about a bloke like a mate of yours, Mick Potter? You're forgetting about Mick Potter. He takes over the Doggies at something like round 6. They've won one game. He takes over. Not only have they won 5 games since he took over, they're scoring. All of a sudden, they're a point-scoring machine.
I tell you what, Maroon, you can be right, because he came forward and said, "What's the secret? What's the secret?" He goes, "I just let him play footy."
Yeah.
That's his coaching genius. Come on.
But
That's it. Just play footy.
In all fairness, though, there was one way for him to go. So it was a 50-50. They couldn't have gone any worse.
Well, the same could be said about the Cowboys, Garlo. They could have only gone to 16th if they were 15th.
Yeah, but Todd Payton.
No.
Todd Payton, mate, he's done an awesome job.
Mick Potter couldn't even get a start as an NRL coach. He takes over that basket case, the Bulldogs. They win 5 games. They put 30+ on Parramatta. They won 2 games in a row. They put 28 on South, even though they lost the game. He turned the joint around.
You can't get coach of the year because you win 2 games in a row.
Mate,
I mean, where have you got your bar?
Mate,
your bar's down here. Come on,
he's
a bit of respect.
coaching the bloody Bulldogs, mate. Before that, they'd won 2 games in 5 years.
The Dogs of War. They don't call them the Dogs of War. They're entertainers for nothing.
Well,
talk about
now.
resources. Hey, they brought in Gus Gould, who has his fingers in every pie out there, no pun intended.
Finger in every Garlo's pie. We're going round in circles here. Toovs, Jason Demetriou, why?
Because he's controlled the headspace of the South players, which is an almost impossible task, and he's completed a great year.
But hang on, their headspace must have been all right last year. They made the freaking grand final.
Yeah.
If you make the grand final, your heads can't be everywhere.
Anyway, speaking of headspace, lie down here. Someone needs to take a look at your headspace. You're saying...
Todd Payton.
Right, why?
Cowboys from 15th to 3rd. Not really much of an input of superstar players. Pretty much the same side as last year. They bought Townsend, who was playing reserve grade for Newtown last year. He's turned him around. That in itself is a success. And he's been one of the dominant halfbacks of the comp.
I respect what you're both saying, but I'm saying give it to the little Aussie battler, Mick Potter. He took the Dogs over when they were going absolutely nowhere and shot them up to about 3rd last on the ladder. And they've got something to build on for next year. Now, let's leave it at that.
Good call.
Righto, boys. Now, between the two of you, you've played for 3 very famous clubs in this city, the Rabbitohs, the Roosters and Manly. You know about rugby league dynasties. Melbourne and the Roosters, a lot of talk around rugby league at this time. Are there dynasties, are those big days at those clubs over, do you think, Garlo?
Well, let's start with Melbourne Storm. They have got used to letting go of the biggest players every year for the last half a dozen years. And every year we say, that'll do them. They won't recover. They're not the same Melbourne. But somehow, somewhere, they pull players, they bring them into the system, and they perform. Now, admittedly, this year, they went out backwards, and nobody expected that. But I think they're still going to be there for next year.
How are they going to replace Kafusis, the Munsters, the Smiths?
The Inglis, the Cooper Cronks.
Yeah, but that was back when they were breaking the Sarri cap. They had to lose them.
No.
These guys, they're not breaking the Sarri cap now.
The main man's still there. The main man, Craig Bellamy.
Yeah.
He's still there.
Yeah,
Boss, he's
or
there.
is he?
Well, he's there for one more year at least. One more year.
That's what I'm saying. He's phasing himself out because he can see the horizons. He can see what's coming.
I think they've got a succession plan.
One of
Don't
you
worry about
makes
that.
the point there. They're like, we all thought it was over when, I think it might have been 2018, Slater left.
Yeah.
Then a couple of years later, they win the premiership. Cronk leaves. Then they make the grand final and play against Cronk. Cam Smith leaves. But this year they are losing a stack of players. So I'm going to say, I think it's over for Melbourne.
The Roosters, on the other hand, I don't think they are. I think they're quietly feeding their juniors at the back in the back rooms.
Hang on, Roosters juniors. What?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to say to you. Roosters junior, they got them in the background there, and anyone that can sign a lodge halfway, with 6 rounds to go, how does that happen?
I don't know how that happens. How does that work?
I don't know how
When did that
happens.
rule come in?
Yeah, and he went good too, didn't he?
He's going all right, yeah.
Okay, so we think Melbourne might be potentially on the way out if we look at the fact that all those stars now are long gone, but we can only hope so, Garlo, that the Roosters are in trouble moving forward.
Well, the Roosters, I mean, their main man is still there. Like Trent Robertson's done a phenomenal job. But you'd have to say they've probably had the best roster. Last year, their roster was decimated with injuries, and they probably overachieved to get where they got to. This year, everyone was tipping them to win the comp. And they went out backwards in the first year of the semis.
Teddy's still the best player in the competition, I believe.
I agree. I agree with you.
Jared got a lot of suspensions here, a lot of fines, I should say, using his bumper bars. What do they call that? Oh, he's using his bumper bars. What do they just say? He's using his elbows.
Well, see, bumper
no
bars,
one says that.
Bumper bars on cars, they don't move. Bumper bars are solid. They're static.
Bumper bars.
You can't say that's a bumper bar if it's coming out and raising and lifting and.
Well, they just call it an elbow, right to the head.
But you're right. They've got some good young players at Roosters.
Roosters, okay or not okay?
Roosters will be fine. Uncle Nick will be there with the checkbook at the back. Happy days.
What are you saying? There's got to be an investigation.
No, it's no investigations. It's all under the cap. That's the way it is.
No, the Roosters will be fine.
Okay.
They'll be fine.
Roosters okay, Melbourne not so.
Melbourne tough.
I think
Melbourne
they'll be
tough.
okay as well.
Well, boys, it's an area of concern here because it's the first time on the League Lounge, and I think we all agree on the Roosters in Melbourne. Somehow we think that they will survive.
They will.
Yes, agreed.
Boys, NRL Finals time, it gets us to thinking about the greatest NRL Finals that if you're not like me, that you've seen. With you two, maybe it's games that you've played in. I ask you to try and not pick games that you've played in, certainly games where you were instrumental. Let me just pluck one out of nowhere here. Toovs and Garlo. 2008, Melbourne finished first. Warriors finished 8th. They play at the old Olympic Park in Melbourne. It's like 14-all, I think. Melbourne kick a field goal with 10 to go. They lead 15-14. Then Michael Witt scores a try for the Warriors, and it's one of the greatest upsets in the modern era. Warriors beat Melbourne 2008. I think the first time 8th beat first in the McIntyre system. That's
a massive, massive game, particularly for Michael Witt. He loves scoring tries. He's a great kicker of the ball. Didn't like tackling too much. But he was a great attacking player and deserved. It was a great match. It was a great match. But the Warriors, where have they gone? Where have they gone to now?
Well, mate, I'm not asking you about that. I'm asking you about the game.
It was a great upset.
Yes.
It was a great upset.
It was a great upset.
Not necessarily a great game.
Okay, well, what do you think is a great game?
We've only got to go back 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
That was
Rabbitohs, Roosters, 6 versus 7. They played the week before and the Roosters got over the top of the Rabbitohs, but this time they called it Sin Bin Sunday, was it?
Yeah.
Sin
The ref was out of control.
The ref lost control. The guy in the bunker took over. 7 blokes sent to the sin bin. It was carnage. It was very similar in a lot of ways. There was no self-protection whatsoever. They were throwing themselves at each other.
A lot of bumper bars.
Yeah, a lot of bumper bars. A lot of bumper bars coming up, and there was head slams. There was all sorts of things.
But the purists would say, Gallo, that wasn't one of the greatest games of all time. And we want to ask you, before we go any further, where do your loyalties sit, mate? Someone who's got to ask you this question. Are you a Rooster or are you a Rabbitoh?
Look, I was a South junior. I started at South, I ended up returning to South.
Just
So
South.
I'm a Rabbitohs man at heart.
I'm going to take you back now, Maroon. I'm going to take you back to the mid-80s, right? 84, 86, the mighty clash of the Eels versus the Bulldogs.
Yep.
Grand finals, 4-2.
How can you say they?
6-4.
Who wants to watch
4-2,
that?
6-4. That's great football.
That's awful football.
Oh, it is
too.
not. It's exciting. You're on the edge of the seat.
And
Who's going to win? Who's going to win?
Asleep.
Oh,
4-2, 6-4.
Brutal. You had the
like a
Mortimer
bloody game of
brothers.
tennis.
You had the Mortimer relations. You had Sterling. You had Kenny. You had Cronin. Price.
I don't care if you had Elvis
Great.
Presley and the Lord Jesus.
Great
Christ.
games.
That's why they brought out the 10 metres,
Yeah, I
the 10
know,
metre
yeah.
line. Otherwise, it was just
4-2,
too
everyone's
defensive.
on the edge.
It's-
Who's going to
no
win?
one's on the
Who's
edge
going
of
to
their
win?
seats,
I think
mate.
Mick Cronin kicked 2 goals.
4-2, 2-4, 6-4.
Oh, it was
It's
close, mate. It was
nonsense.
great.
It's the worst football
That's
I've
why
ever.
they call
It's
them-
the only time I ever thought I'm going to go and watch a
What
game
do they
of
call
soccer.
them? What do they call the Bulldogs back then? What was their name? The
yes,
Entertainers. The
well,
Entertainers.
Yeah, but mate,
Come
they
on.
weren't entertaining.
Because you had to
games.
throw it around, backwards and forwards, left and right, inside, outside.
It was tough.
Because
Footy,
the defence
tough
was right on
footy.
you.
If
Defence
you are,
right on you.
yeah, but I mean, if you're going to say they are the great, they might have been the
They were
closest
great.
games of all
No,
time.
they were exciting. Everyone
no,
loved them.
they weren't exciting at all. Are you agreeing with
Not
me?
great games.
No.
They were
no.
great games.
So you're both wrong, mate.
Close,
because you
close
pick-
games, yeah.
A supporter comes along. Let's say somebody's never watched the game. Sit down here and watch Canterbury play Parramatta in the 86 grand final.
Yes.
It's bloody 4-2. No one wants to see that.
Oh, everyone
and you
loves
picked
that.
the game. Purists hate that game.
What
7
one?
players sent to the sin bin. It
Oh,
was and Tane
But what
Milne-
about the emotion?
Yeah,
What-
but mate, we're talking about 13 on 13, the upsets, the bloody David and Goliath battles.
we
I
love
mean,
the drama. That's what we like. We
We
like,
love
we
the
like the
theatre.
collisions.
We love the theatre of rugby league.
well, if you love the theatre, you're talking about a game that finished
Oh,
4-2.
sorry.
I don't know.
That's
what
theatre.
I
Up and
thought
down. Who's going to score? Who's going to win?
You know what? It's
What's
the
happening?
accountant did it.
Oh, yes.
It's the numbers.
Oh.
It's the numbers.
That's right. And
6-4, 4-2. That's entertainment.
That is sleepy time.
Okay.